We are finally approaching the end of the Modern Warfare 2 2022 year of Call of Duty. And well, I would say I couldn't be happier, but well, next year doesn't exactly look too promising either. All jokes aside though, it's been quite the year for Call of Duty. If you've paid any attention to this channel over the last few months, then you may have seen one of the many videos I've made on this franchise and its continual demise. But not so long ago, I and many others were praising Modern Warfare 2 as a step in the right direction for Call of Duty. On its release, it certainly felt like an upgrade to the original Modern Warfare that released 3 years prior. Better map design was the main strength, but we also saw changes to the gunsmith system and a cool new camo system, which at the time, I felt was one of the more impressive innovations the game had to offer. But what are my thoughts now? Do I still hold it up to be one of the better games of the modern Call of Duty era? Or has the last year of live service changed my opinion heavily on the game? And more importantly, what would I rate it now out of 100? We're prepared to be disappointed by Call of Duty over and over again and grab some popcorn as I take one last look at Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 and give my final opinion on this chaotic game.
Bravo.
As nothing has changed with the campaign, I won't be reviewing that, but I will leave a link in the description if you want to check out that video, as I did make a review shortly after the game came out. So then, there is no better place to start than the multiplayer of Modern Warfare 2, the bread and butter of Call of Duty. In my original review, I spoke quite highly of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, and my main positive talking points were firstly, the weapon animations and sounds, which I still agree with, and stand by the fact that they are incredible, and still do lead the industry. The other major positive for me was the fun new camo grind which I mentioned in the intro, where once a camo had been unlocked, it could be put on any gun. Whilst before I may have thought of this as one of the best things about the game, now I just see it as an added bonus. What I mean by that is I don't really think I can class the camo system as a major positive of a game, and rather something that can make a good game or an average game even better. But as we'll come to find out, other aspects of the game required a bit more love. These camos still do look great though, and the sheer number of them amazes me to this day. It's a shame so many of them are overlooked as a result of having better ones in the store. Other areas of the game that I liked on release were the weapon tuning and gunplay. Weapon tuning is something, much like the camos, that I suppose is an additional bonus. But even saying that, I don't really use it much, although I can see there is a lot of potential with such a mechanic. I still do enjoy the gunplay of Modern Warfare 2. The guns feel real and they sound beefy, like I mentioned before, and have lots of differing recoil patterns and sounds. Hit detection is still solid, and as I stated in the original, it's satisfying to shoot people in the game, which is a plus to me. Now then, I think it's time we get onto the biggest talking point when it comes to a Call of Duty multiplayer, and that is the map design. Comparing Modern Warfare 2 with Modern Warfare 2019 is a world of difference, with less safe spaces, a wider colour palette and much better flows. There is also more verticality and interesting lanes than the 3-lane mediocre maps we were given for years from Black Ops 3 to Black Ops 4. However, the map design for me still doesn't reach the heights of the golden era of Call of Duty games, like the original Modern Warfare trilogy. Firstly in their number. On release I believe we only had 9 maps in this game, whereas previously we were treated to around 15. Also the quality for me is clearly not up to that standard. Take a map like Mercado Las Almas for example. If you put that in the original Modern Warfare 2, and to me it would only be considered an average to good map, and doesn't reach the heights of something like a high-rise or a scrapyard for me. I think a lot of that has to do with the gameplay itself though. When the map Dome for example was brought over to Modern Warfare 2, I and many others noticed some differences in flow and just that feeling of how the map plays. There was a video shown at the time of movement speeds on the original Modern Warfare 3 and Modern Warfare 2022, and it shows clearly that the original trilogy had that slight speed advantage and the maps were clearly built to accommodate that. When you add other features such as mounting and the desire for the player base to complete camo challenges, and it's not surprising that some of these maps feel different. Other than the pretty average selection of maps we do have, the most frustrating thing regarding these maps is how out of touch Infinity Ward are with them all. The border crossing map has been hated since launch for its awful flow, and in response Infinity Ward claimed that it was, and I quote, experimental. When you are pushing a so-called experimental map in a game that only has 9 maps, then it creates a real problem. Not to mention that the so-called experimental maps in the past have been way better. Take the original shipment for example. It was introduced as a test of sorts, but became so wildly popular for its fast-paced action and set the scene for 1v1s. And if you didn't like it, well, you had 15 other maps you could play instead. Or you could use the map vote feature. But I guess I'm just dreaming, and those are just simpler times. Overall, out of the maps in the game, I do think we have a decent selection in terms of their layout, but some of the mechanics in the game just don't lend well to how they should play. This comes down to Infinity Ward being unable to find that balance between realism and fun, and it's a real shame to me, because it's their second chance to get it right after the disaster of 2019's maps, and again, we are left feeling a bit empty in this aspect. In terms of its game modes, Modern Warfare 2 follows many trends when it comes to modern gaming, and lacked fan favourites when the game released. We had the standard TDM and domination, but we lacked party modes such as Gun Game or One in the Chamber. Yes, they were added later on, but the best time for these modes is at the start of the game. All my friends that bought the game didn't even experience the party modes because they were added so late, and it would have been nice to play these in custom games on release. Progression is a major part of Call of Duty. The prestige mode and icons of the past have become so iconic, and the Master Prestige added almost a decade ago created hours of progression. Modern Warfare 2019 took this away, however, and ever since we've been anticipating its return, but once again it wasn't here. Instead, we are left with a simply awful seasonal level system, where we have to wait months for more levels to be added. If at release, the max level was 1050 like it is now, then maybe I could have given it a bit more respect here, but to me the current system is a joke, and we need the return of the old progression. In fact, I would even argue that the Battle Pass and Camo Grind is a more satisfying progression system. This highlights how much of a needless change it was, and how out of touch both Infinity Ward and Activision are with the community. But actually, before I forget, let's quickly talk about that Camo Grind. As of late, it's become probably the most iconic part of every new Call of Duty game, and to Modern Warfare 2's credit, this one is fun and creative like I mentioned before. However, the issue I have with it is this new Camo Grind culture it's created. This is mostly down to there being nothing else to do in Call of Duty at the minute. When you play the game now, what you find is either people trying to get challenges and levels done in the mind-numbing and painful experience that is Shipment 24/7, or in the normal multiplayer, you will see a lot of people playing in very frustrating ways, such as mounting on a wall or crouching in corners. The challenges do promote these playstyles, and rather than be a fun side goal like in the good old days, they're now at the core of everything fun in this game, and have led the gameplay and mindset of the community to suffer as a result. The last important points about the multiplayer are the skill-based matchmaking and user interface. Skill-based matchmaking is something I've already made a video about, so I won't be going on for too long about it here, but once again it ruins the fun. A casual game like Call of Duty should not need a system as strong as this. Going back to older Call of Duty games this summer really highlights so many issues of the newer games, and SBMM is the most notable. Lobbies could stick together, rivalries could be built, and fun could be had, but unfortunately that isn't something you can do much in Call of Duty anymore. The user interface was, and still is, awful. Many people, including myself, laughed at its design, and its similarity to something seen on a smart TV. Whilst yes, some improvements have been made, I still find myself struggling to find certain areas of the game, and the new and updated version for the playlist selection isn't exactly what I'd call aesthetically pleasing. Overall, the multiplayer aspect of Modern Warfare 2 can be summed up in one word: disappointing. The maps are average, the mechanics and gameplay are too realistic and sluggish, and the progression system is laughably bad. When I first reviewed the multiplayer, I held it in quite high regard, but as the months have gone by, and I will get onto why soon, but Modern Warfare 2 has continued to fail to capture my interest. Infinity Ward continue to be stubborn, and they keep pushing the community's wishes for the game aside. This has caused me to be so disconnected from the franchise, as their vision for a game is simply something that older COD players won't like. Prestige mode is here, but it's ruined. Classic maps are here, but they are ruined. And Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer is back, but it has been ruined.
UAV in the sector. Hostile squad in the water.
This is the part of the video where it turns from review to rant. This is the part of the game that's turned Modern Warfare 2 from an average to good Call of Duty to a bad one. Let's start with the monetization and get the good out of the way. Free maps and weapons for everyone is good, so congratulations Activision, you've removed the wrongs of loot boxes. In turn though, you had a battle pass to act as a major progression system, and create one of the worst item shops I've ever seen. Black Ops 2 sells one weapon skin for about £2. Modern Warfare 2, it will cost you around £20, because it's bundled with a bunch of other useless cosmetics. If the premium and upgrade version of the Battle Pass wasn't enough, well here is the £30 option, because the previous season's Battle Pass didn't sell well enough, because our live service was terrible. In fact, that's a great segue into the live service, because quite simply, it's been a joke. The game releases with 9 maps, and I won't sugarcoat it because that is absolutely terrible compared to the past. So in Season 1, we needed at least 3 new maps and maybe a couple of remakes to really create a nice wide selection. Shoot House and Shipment. Really? Like seriously, this is what you give us? The two most overplayed maps from 2019, because they were fast compared to the others, and you think this will be enough? Not even a new map. Just one simply terrible map used to get camos, and the other one an overrated 3-lane map. But okay, maybe Season 2 will be the one to add all the new maps. I mean, at this point, we probably need at least like 5 new maps, but we get Dome from Modern Warfare 3, another remake. Pretty interesting. And is that a new map? Oh no, wait. It's just the museum map, which is from the beta and is pretty bad and got removed. Ah yes, another season filled to the brim with new content. But oh wait, there's been a new event mid-season that's got me a bit more excited to the game and has brought players back to the game again. Surely this would be a great time to finally add some new maps and get people excited about Modern Warfare 2 again. One new map. It took us until mid-March, that is 5 months into the game, to get a single new map. Okay, Modern Warfare 2. I don't know why I'm still here giving you this many chances, but Season 3. Surely by now we get a solid number of maps. What's that I see? Is that 2 new maps? But one of them isn't exactly what I would call playable, as instead it's a night map. As it can't be played normally in the daytime, it's only a gimmick map, and I think I played it once or twice before I was bored of it. This was the point where I was officially done with Modern Warfare 2. I played it on and off from the release to the release of Season 3, but getting 3 new maps by mid-April, half a year into the game's release, really proved to me how terrible both Infinity Ward and Activision are at making a game. A game with the name Modern Warfare 2 should never launch with just 9 maps. It should never have just 12 maps by April. Whilst playing this game again for this video, I noticed there were some cool new maps. Vulnerable Waterfront looks like an absolute blast to play, and there are a few others which could also have been great in the selection. But when you add these maps from May onwards, do you not think that a large portion of the player base is never going to be able to play them? It makes no logical sense not to front load these maps. Keep players interested, and if the game starts doing well, then make more maps, and the game will be a huge success. But as we know, Infinity Ward and mainly Activision like to do as little as possible as long as the franchise keeps making them stable income. I feel like to give this game some deserved praise, that I must mention the raids that have been added post-launch, as in many ways they act as a saving grace of this year's title. As someone who's been hooked by these multiplayer activities ever since I was introduced to them through Destiny, I've wondered how they would look in other games. I never expected to see them in a game like Call of Duty though, but here they are. And well, hopefully here they are to stay. This is finally the innovation on the original Spec Ops we were promised of Modern Warfare 2019. This time with a fun but tough challenge, which tests both players' gun skill and coordination with a team. Challenges like the underwater puzzle, or the jumping puzzles are a creative way to push teamwork. The combat sections here are tough, but not ridiculously difficult like in the original, and there are plenty of secrets in these raids alongside a storyline that connects them. Once again, I wish we had one on release, as I do think this could be Infinity Ward's long-term rival to zombies. A more expansive raid mode could allow for so many ideas to be put into Call of Duty, and with its own progression system, it could be hours of fun. It doesn't have to be as expansive and complex as Destiny, but it can certainly be so much more. This has been a pretty low year for Call of Duty. A game with as much name value as Modern Warfare 2 should and could have been so much more. I have given this game a lot of criticism in this video that is rightly deserved, but when this game released, I truly thought Call of Duty was on the right track again. 9 maps on release was a disappointment, yes, but I really thought the post-launch content would add loads of new fun maps and guns, but that just wasn't the case here. The remakes we got were pretty poor and are all a step down from their original counterparts. The core gameplay has been good since release, but it really is that live service aspect of the game that has caused the game to decline so much month after month. This is simply the most out of touch I've ever seen a COD developer with the community. Gaming is a community-driven hobby, and it's nice to know the developers have as much passion for the game as the community does. But this year of Call of Duty has taught me very differently. The raids in the game showed a little spark of the creativity left in Infinity Ward, but for me it's too little too late. It's for these reasons why I give Modern Warfare 2 a 61 out of 100 score. This is the game that proves to me that Call of Duty doesn't have it anymore. Playing the older titles this summer and then coming back to make this video is a really astonishing contrast. I find myself wanting to grind for prestiges and camos in a game that's been out for 10 years rather than the new title, and that's a real shame. I can't even call this an example of nostalgia, because I never played Black Ops 1 in its heyday, so I have no memories to call back to there. On release, I probably would have given Modern Warfare 2 a rating somewhere in the mid-70s, but I value developers that care for their game and community, and as a result, this game has declined so heavily. As for the future of this franchise, well, Modern Warfare 3 will probably be a similar story. It will most likely fix some complaints we have with this game, but create some new ones in turn. The game will probably have lots of potential like this one, but fall short in the end. And with Activision in charge, this is a cycle that I can see continuing until the end of time.